Lionel Messi represents the absolute peak of world football. He is a man covered in gold, burdened by records, and universally adored by millions. But in late 90s Rosario, Argentina, that image was non-existent. At 13 years old, Messi stood under 5 feet tall. Local youth teams dismissed him, convinced he lacked the physical frame to survive on a professional pitch. This chart shows the reality of his condition. The top curve tracks standard development for a child his age. The flat line at the bottom is Messi. He was officially diagnosed with growth hormone deficiency. Daily injections offered a solution, but that medical path crashed into a harsh financial reality. The cost far eclipsed his family's income, and local clubs refused to cover the bill. Held down by a failing biology and an empty bank account, the greatest athlete of a generation was statistically destined to be erased from the sport before his career even began. Salvation arrived from across the Atlantic. Barcelona saw enough raw talent to take an unprecedented risk. They agreed to bankroll the medical treatments of a severely undersized child. That salvation came at a personal cost. Messi had to pack his bags, move across the globe to the La Masia Academy, and leave behind his childhood love, Antonella. He spent the next few years rising through the academy ranks, fueled by the early belief of his grandmother Cecilia and a promise to eventually return for Antonella. His move to the first team was rapid. He found a crucial mentor in Ronaldinho, who took the teenager under his wing and protected him during his transition into professional football. Barcelona provided the physical architecture for his career. By funding the hormones that grew his bones and muscles, they created an immense, unspoken debt that he would spend the next decade repaying. The catalyst for Messi's true explosion arrived in 2008. Ronaldinho departed, Pep Guardiola became manager, and Messi inherited the iconic number 10 shirt. Guardiola installed a system that made Messi the central nervous system of the team. The immediate result was a historic treble, conquering every major competition in Europe. This chart shows the sheer statistical scale of his dominance. In 2012, Messi scored 91 individual goals, shattering a decades-old world record to dwarf everyone else in the sport. That output earned him 4 consecutive Ballon d'Or awards, solidifying him as a global phenomenon. At the club level, Messi had paid off his biological debt with interest. He had conquered his first mountain and sat firmly as the king of European football. But on the international stage, the story of effortless dominance collapsed. He was haunted by the ghost of Diego Maradona. The Argentine public demanded Messi carry the nation to World Cup glory, exactly as his predecessor had done, or face being labeled a failure. What followed was an era of agonizing near misses. In 2014, he dragged his team to the World Cup final, only to watch the prize slip away in a heartbreaking loss to Germany. Back-to-back Copa America final losses in 2015 and 2016 broke his spirit. Critics began to claim he would never escape Maradona's shadow. This dark cloud eventually bled back into his club life, manifesting in repeated, embarrassing exits from the Champions League. The downfall climaxed in 2021. The club that had built him was in financial ruin. Their debt had grown so massive they could no longer cover his wages, forcing him to leave his boyhood home in tears. Despite holding every individual record in the game, Messi was an exiled king, burdened by a national legacy he seemingly couldn't fulfill. In 2021, the narrative finally shifted. Against the odds, Messi broke a 28-year national drought and secured the Copa America trophy for Argentina. This set the stage for the 2022 World Cup. His teammates formed a unified shield, determined to push him to the peak one last time. The 3-3 final against France was a chaotic masterpiece. After 120 minutes of exhaustion, his career rested on a single, history-altering penalty kick. By lifting the World Cup, he silenced the Maradona comparisons and fulfilled the earliest prophecy his grandma Cecilia made on a dusty pitch in Rosario. Lifting the World Cup ended the era of the asterisk. With his trophy set complete, he finally stood as a man who had won everything there was to win. Today, he plays in Miami. He has moved away from the pressure of European football to enjoy the sport he fought so hard to reach.
He sits on a final tally of 894 matches, 726 goals, 346 assists, and 8 Ballon d'Ors. And the childhood promise he made survived. He returned for Antonella, and they built a family together. The story of Lionel Messi is one of total endurance. He survived a failing body, outlasted the collapse of the institutions that built him, and finally overcame the crushing weight of a nation's expectations to reach the top on his own terms.